For some of us, it's win and get in. As simple as that. Today, we're diving into week 14 and some of the players that you might have some questions on. Should we start them or should we sit them? So, if you have any questions about your lineup or you just want a second opinion, drop it in the comments. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Taking a quick look at last week's list, we went 4-4, which is actually probably our worst week on the season. However, plenty of time to bounce back. On the year 70-32, we're not perfect, but we're pretty good. Let's kick it off here with Baker Mayfield, my former quarterback as a Cleveland Browns fan, but he's the quarterback 6 on the year, 21 fantasy points a game, amazing season, an underrated season from Baker Mayfield despite all the injuries around him. Now, we know he's a gunslinger, right? I mean, he's averaging 270 total yards a game, and he's third in the league, 4 passing touchdowns on the year with 25. So we know this is a team that is 6-6. They're tied for the division lead with the Atlanta Falcons, and they need to win every game here from here on out. So you know Baker's going to leave it all out on the field and probably throw at least 40 times a game from here on out just to make sure this team gets in the playoffs. Now, the only thing I want to worry about here is the fact that even though they're home, they are playing a talented defensive line from the Las Vegas Raiders. And we know when Baker gets under pressure, sometimes he doesn't hold up too well. But I believe that it's not going to be too much of an issue this week against the Raiders, who really have their eyes set on Shedeur Sanders. We're going to start Baker Mayfield. Now I want to move over to this very, key AFC West matchup between the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to kick it off here with 2 wide receivers, starting with Ladd McConkey, a guy who's been very underrated, and I don't think he's getting his credit. Over the last 3 weeks, he's the wide receiver 8, giving us 18 fantasy points a game. And over those last 3 weeks, he's getting the production. 9 targets a game, 7 receptions a game with 80 yards to go along with it. So he is dominating on the field, and with J.K. Dobbins now probably done for the year, a guy like Ladd McConkey is only going to get more and more involved on a weekly basis. Now, in the first matchup that these two teams played, it was Ladd McConkey's first breakout performance, let's say, where he had 18 fantasy points in week 4 on the road, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, this Chiefs defense is tough, so it's hard to play anybody against them confidently, but I think with Ladd McConkey in a prime position to dominate yet again, J.K. Dobbins is down, they're going to pass a lot more, we're going to start Ladd McConkey. Now, on the opposite side of this matchup, let's talk about the fastest man in NFL history, Xavier Worthy, a guy that is the wide receiver 24 over the last 3 weeks, which I don't think he gets his credit for either. 12 fantasy points a game, 6 targets a game throughout that stretch with 4 receptions and about 50 yards as well. He also had his first breakout game against the Chargers this season with 16 fantasy points in week 4 as well. So both of these receivers had favorable matchups then. They were involved then, and I think that should continue now that they're playing their best career football. The Chargers defense, just like the Chiefs, is also tough. It's hard to play anybody against them confidently. But with his speed and with the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is going to get the attention, I like Worthy to have another double-digit performance. Now, as always, before Thursday's kickoff, I will have the full list for you guys in the comments section, so be on the lookout. But this is the list that I have, compiled so far. Baker, Ladd, and Xavier Worthy, we've talked about. They are definite starts on the week. JSN, he's been his start from week 1 to this point, and he's been pretty good. We're going to roll with the hot hand there, especially because now he's getting the most targets in that offense on a consistent basis. Now, the sit list so far, I have Jordan Addison yet again, even though last week he burned us, and Will Dissly in that Chargers matchup. Chiefs are just very good at defending tight ends, so Will Dissly has struggled the last 2 weeks, and I don't think he's going to reclaim that magic he had just before that. But that's going to do it here for today's video. Short and sweet. But if you have any questions about your lineup or you just want a second opinion, drop it in the comments. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But again, it's win and get in. If you want a second opinion, I'm telling you, it could save your season.